For Lord Cars.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Man of the people.
You know it's Cars Keys. Let's get it started up. Give me the car keys. Lakeshore Drive. Blog boys drive away with our takes like car thieves. Break down, we study tape and thrive.
Analytical preparation, that's what cars is given. Cars don't discriminate, teaching the men and women. Each and every week, there's nerd to get your focus. Never manipulating stats, lore, cars no hocus pocus. Cars keys, they're never lost. Checking source, never gonna find a better scouting report. Cars going live with the smartest man, my bestie. Deciphering holes on the defense like Getsy. New show, uniforms, orange with the dark sea. Tape never lies, patrons, this is Cars
You know
Keys.
it's Cars Keys. Let's get it started up. Give me the car keys. Lakeshore Drive. Blog boys drive away with our takes like car thieves. Break down, we study tape and thrive. We gotta break down tape like detectives. No hot takes, just real football perspectives. The Bears nerd dropping science on his terms. TTNL giving Bears press like a perm. Other networks are soft with the heads. Stats plus film equals football cred. Analysis like data Ted tries to shred. McCaskey's letting me cake, we keep the 100 crew fed. Cars keys, let's get it started up. Give me the car keys. Lakeshore Drive. Blog boys drive away with our takes like car thieves. Break down, we study tape and thrive. Lord Hines in his party, fill up a goblet. Lord Hines in his party, fill up a goblet.
Breaking news. The tape never lies. Network breaking news.
We suck again. Here we are. Cars Keys Season 3, Episode 46. We got lots to talk about with no blueprint tonight. Gonna be a interesting week. So let me get my guy out here. Bring him out, the guy you're here to see. Where did he go? There he is.
I
Cars.
feel like Rob Schneider in The Water Boy.
Right.
Oh, no,
Patterson,
we
Peterson,
suck.
who the fuck cares? Right? They're all the same place.
We suck. We absolutely suck. It is killing me, man. It is. You
The
know,
more things change, the more they stay the same. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I guess let's start there. There's no sense of, as my family decides to call me, 3 minutes into the show. But you can't even say the more things change, the more they stay the same, because it's the more they stay the same, the more things stay the same, because it's how we got here up top. They just do everything ass backwards. And then you think that, this change here, but they never get it right, Cars, ever. The process sucks. And that includes ownership. It includes Kevin Warren to this point, who is a huge unknown. It unfortunately includes Ryan Poles, Ian Cunningham, everybody in the front office, all the way down through Eberflus, Chris Morgan, the arranged marriage, all of it.
so we've now gone into the movie where the guy gets on the fast food restaurant and he's like, fuck you, you're cool. Like that's basically where we are. Yeah, I mean, and the recent reports don't make it any better, of when Adam Rank sat down and said, he's hearing that Flus is safe no matter what this season.
Yeah, there's that.
Shane, we are one Will Levis inexcusable throw.
Yep.
And the Carolina freaking Panthers away. Even if you take the Carolina, we win Carolina. We are Puka being healthy away from being a 2-win football team. And I
Yep.
think what makes it worse is when you look at these teams, Washington is not a great defense. Arizona is not a great defense.
Nope.
The Rams couldn't generate pressure, and then they were in our backfield all day long.
Yep.
And, there's so much to take in. And I love, I kind of said earlier, and Twitter was like, send me some of the questions. And you start to look at it, and it's like, in some respect, the offensive game plan sucks.
It does. It does. Yeah.
The offensive line isn't great, but it's not as terrible as it shows. You've got wide receivers that have quit.
Right. There's ways to remedy it. It's not, the offensive line is not an abomination. And Cars, I mean, like I said, if we didn't do Bears up, and listen, when I say it's not an abomination, that's not me giving praise to it, but there's ways, there's things that you can do, just fundamental football that we've talked about. I mean, again, you have, when's the last time we saw a slant pass to Roma Dunze or to
our last win?
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. And it's something that should be happening. And it, with the Bears, it's again, it's like pulling teeth. Everything is like pulling teeth. And I said this last night on Keeping It 100. We felt so good coming out of London. You saw Caleb have, a couple of rough series to start, and we go down, but then he bounces back, has, according to Tom Waddle, the single best game that he's ever seen a Chicago Bears quarterback, the most complete, in control game that he's seen from a Chicago Bears quarterback ever. Take it beyond Caleb. You talk about the entire team. What the fuck did any of them do over the bye week, Cars? What did they do?
Well,
I'm talking the entire organization. What did they do? Was it,
do you know what they did?
We've arrived?
They celebrated and said, we've
Yeah.
arrived. Absolutely. And to your point, like, we talk about the pressure that Caleb was under last week. I hate to break it to everybody. Who had the 9th longest time to pressure in the NFL last week was Caleb Williams.
Right.
The problem is that it took him 3.1, almost 3.2 seconds to throw. The reason it took him 3.2 seconds to throw is everything that Dan Orlovsky said. The pass concepts.
Yeah,
the very first one he showed where there are 4 guys inside of a window.
Yeah,
what are you
crazy.
doing?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's looking at the all 22, you have 2 guys running curl routes and they're about 1.5 yards apart. And it's like, that's something that I would expect to see on the Southington Wolverines. You know what I mean? Not an NFL franchise. And
not with an experienced OC either.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like, Keenan Allen, obviously there's some major question marks there. DJ Moore. And listen, I'm not the outrage with DJ Moore over that play. It was clear as fucking day.
He's been injured nicked up all season so far.
But to me, it was clear as day. You could see him lift his foot and limp and then went off. And I understand the process of him just going straight to the bench. The optics of it didn't look good. If he tweaked it and if he dropped right to the ground right there, probably none of this would have happened. But I'll say this against DJ Moore, he's been aloof in the pressers, and just like, and it hasn't been a great look,
because you can tell that he is not into whatever is going on. We kind of, you've said it before, we kind of brushed off the the JSN stuff from Seattle, right?
That was a mistake.
But tell me now that it wasn't, and the decision is terrible. Someone showed a stat the other day. Keenan Allen is running average route running is where he's getting targeted is 11.2 yards,
Yeah.
which is a career high.
Yeah,
for
that
him.
was Lauren Cox. Not that
Yeah.
long. Yeah.
So, like, the only player that we are somewhat unlocking is Rome, but we aren't, you know, Waldron has something against Cole Kmet. He had something against Khalil Herbert. He has something against some of these people, and right now it's impacting the game. And look, I don't want to sit here and think about polls and whether or not he's going to keep Flus, but name one head coach in their career that through 4 years of being a head coach gets 3 different offensive coordinators.
No. And that's the thing, Cars. And listen, I love Adam, and I know he's you know, super
He's
close
got
friend
connected.
to our network, and yeah, 100% connected. I don't know if it's my fandom taking over, but I can't believe that Ryan Poles would be this oblivious.
The only reason that would happen is because they signed him to a 5-year deal and they don't want to pay. And if you don't want to pay, do what Jerry Reinsdorf's trying to do with the Sox. Tell him, it's time.
Exactly.
If you don't want to, if this is just a way for you to make money, stop telling me that Virginia's pissed off. Stop telling me that winning matters.
Yep.
Nothing you have done has proven that to date. The Las Vegas Raiders fired Getsy in week 8. What did we know about Luke Getsy?
And their quarterback coach and their offensive line coach.
And but what do we know? They know they knew way early they weren't going to keep him. Yeah. They knew he 100%. Was done it. So then why do you keep him calling the play?
So Cars, what do you if the Bears go out, and I know I've had so many DMs today, and I know you didn't watch the show last night, but it's been like we've been trying to trim down the time of the monster that is keeping it 100, and I looked up. We're getting into the prediction segment, and it was like 11:26. So I said, well, you know, my prediction is, and then went straight to the end broadcast, and that, you know, left everybody on a cliffhanger so we could have the heart out and stuff like that. But, you know, let's just say they go out and they lay down at home in Soldier Field and they get punched in the fucking face by the New England Patriots. Do you think that there's any type of move?
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope. There's no reason, you know, and Shane, the main reason for that is I sat here a couple of weeks ago, and this will be Accountability Thursday, right? I sat here and I challenged you because I said I can't predict them to lose because look, I would have predicted them to lose in London. What happened in London was so unusual that it felt like they turned the corner. And you fool me once, shame on you. You fool me twice, shame on me. I can't bet that this team is going to do any of the right things. And so no. And if they do, it's now moved to the point that I want to be pleasantly surprised. I can't sit here and ask for this because you saw the tweet that Schefter or whoever said, Rappaport sent to Barstool Big Cat, where he showed the points that we've scored and the yards and all that. How? There's one person to blame. It's not Waldron. It's your head coach now.
No, I totally agree. And I mean, it's that was Schefter that sent it out. He was on there. Big Cat was in on the, you know, Ben Johnson to Chicago, and then Adam did that segment saying, you know, does he want to come to a franchise, you know, with all the, you know, issues that they've had. And I mean, it's a legitimate question. I mean, if you're Ben Johnson, because let's be honest, if Ben Johnson if the Bears move on from Matt Eberflus and clear out this coaching staff, which we all know is the correct move. We all know that. And that's the sad part.
It should be done now.
Yes, it should be, because Cars, this is the thing. And I know that there's people that go against this, and I've heard people say, oh, what good is it going to do to move on from a coaching staff now? because you have to, and I said this again last night, you have to look at it like your kids, or your kid is having a problem with a teacher or a problem at daycare. You're not saying, let's just listen. Next year's going to be a different year. We'll wait till school's over. We're going to readjust. We're going to talk about it, and hopefully you'll be better next. No, you take care of the fucking issue now, because I'll tell you right now, and I haven't talked to you specifically about this. I've talked to Ryan Cox about this, and this was way before the season started, way before Caleb Williams started. I love Caleb. I love the talent. Does he have to play better? 100%. Did Caleb play good last week? No. If we did the bear up, bear down segment, I would have picked Caleb as my bear down, even with all of the other issues around him, because there was throws there to be made that he simply did not make. He didn't make the layups. He reverted back to his USC days. And it was because I think the thought process is, I don't believe in the OC to get the spark going. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make the play downfield. I'm going to be the reason that we get this going. But the thing about it is, hero ball rarely works. And sometimes collecting first downs is your spark. Dumping it down to Cole Kmet when he's wide fucking open. And when you're talking about him not getting targets, a lot of the times Cars, sometimes it's not just a Waldron issue. It's a fucking Caleb Williams issue for not getting rid of not giving him the football and trying to push it down. But beyond that, it's just Ryan Cox and I talked about, I never had an issue with Caleb, and this is way the fuck down the road. I never had an issue with Caleb signing the first contract. The second contract, if he hits, and if the Bears are good, where it's clear that he's the guy, that's the one. The money part of it isn't the issue. It's how the Bears are going to handle giving the fucking motherload contract. And Cars, it's already fucking, the ball is already rolling. You see it with the tweet from his dad. That doesn't just that's not a just, oh, I fucked up tweet that he sent out and deleted. That was sent out as a clear fucking message. He's on the same page with his son. These guys are super fucking calculated. And that is, you better fix this shit, or we're going to have fucking problems. And if there's a franchise in American professional sports that can fuck up an amazing opportunity that you were gifted, unfortunately, it's this franchise. I'm telling you, and listen, Ryan Poles has done a lot of good things. Ian Cunningham has done good things. Matt Eberflus has done some good things. But if these guys are all joined at the fucking hip together, they are going to sink together. It's not going to work out. It's not going to, Shane, under the current regime.
I think the way you look at it too is, we have 8 games. Mm-hmm. We've talked about 4 separate players meetings. 4 separate players meetings, some with the coaches involved to get them on the same page. You had Cole Kmet and Jalen Johnson, DJ Moore publicly calling them out after that awful of excuse of a Washington game. They did not get any better in that play call. For whatever reason, Shane Waldron is like all DeAndre Swift all the time, and I'm not taking away. He's a great player, but you're not doing anything to piggyback off of the things that you're doing. Right. When you read DJ Moore's body language, guess what? He's frustrated as hell with the offensive play coordinator caller, because he's a fraction of himself. He's on pace to set a career low in receiving yardage.
Yep.
Why? Because we have an offensive coordinator that they laughed on draft day. Is this going to be too many playmakers for you? Guess what? It is right now.
Is that good enough for you, Shane? Can you handle that? And that's Cars. Listen,
if you bench Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Cole Kmet right now, what difference would that have on our offense. None.
You can't get what are you gonna move from 30 to 32?
Like, wait, I know that Tyler Scott isn't necessarily a big piece, but he's got speed. He offers something different. He's not on the field.
That's the thing right there, Cars. And Phil brought that up last night too. And I'm not even saying that you need just speed alone. The Bears have a lack of speed throughout their entire team, and they have forever. And it is evident on kickoff, and kickoff is a little bit different now, but like when you see Torrey Taylor punt the football, you see the speed differential in between these two teams.
Oh yeah.
Whenever they're playing, whenever it's the Bears, and to me, it's blinding. But it's just, oh god damn, Caleb has to be better, and I know people want to hang us out to dry because I never called. Phil did. Yes, I know. Phil called him a generational talent. I don't use that label on anybody. I think it's a media-driven fucking bullshit label on people. I had him as my number one quarterback. I still have him as my number one quarterback. And if you're writing finalities on any of these guys after 8 fucking games, then your decision has already been made up. Your final destination with this is you never wanted the kid to succeed anyway. You want to build in these fake exit strategies for yourself. And there's Bears fans that we've been around, and Bears fans that you and I know on Twitter that are, want to flash everything in your face all the fucking time. And I'm the best fucking fan ever, but they want to build these exit strategies of, oh, I'm a fan. I'm going to, number one, you can't root against somebody, if they're on your fucking team and all of this bullshit. But then as soon as the team struggles, you pivot coming back to making this a Caleb, just like Adam Schefter did. You're comparing a kid 8 games into his career against Justin Fields, who at that point was in his third year in the NFL.
Who's already been benched.
Exactly.
And I don't even care anymore. Like the people that want to do this and think that who they are means something, and it like that we have to put respect on their name. It's too much. But it's, Shane, kind of to your point of, there are teams that are going to go through little patches like this. And what you find is that there are some coaches that are going to adapt and change. And at this moment, you can't tell me a single thing that he has adapted and changed to. The talent changed, but nothing that man has done.
No.
When he sat down, listen, when that thing happened at Washington, and that man said what he did at the press conference, basically absolving him and his coaching staff of any of the blame. And then, like a cowardly lion fucking franchise, they didn't live stream the press conference the next day because they didn't want fans talking about how awful and inexcusable it is. And
they didn't. I don't think they did it I don't think they did it after the Arizona game either.
No. So you cannot sit there thumping your chest talking about all the good things you do when shit goes wrong, and you are talking with your meekest little voice and you're hiding. You are a coward. That's why I asked for that picture, and I forget whoever sent it, but it's perfectly. Matt Eberflus is a cowardly lion. Ryan Poles is a cowardly lion. If you wanna sit down and talk all this stuff like an internet troll and talk about how great you are and talk about how wonderful you are, don't be like some of these people that sat down and deleted their Twitter accounts when the shit went wrong. Because that's what the Bears organization basically did.
No, you hit it right on the head, man. And it's just, it's sad. And, Bullets was at the game in Arizona, and he was going up the escalators, and he saw George walking by. And I talked about it before, but I'll just reinforce it, and I'll let people know what matters to the Bears ownership and how it works is if, like, when the Bears came to Buffalo, I took my son, and we were we had great seats. We're literally right behind the Bears bench. So we got in there early. My guy Joe, I know he's in the chat. He was there. Yeah, Joe Belinsky, he was there with us, and we're just standing there, and George out of nowhere just shows up, and he's very, very scripted. He's no fool. He knows obviously where the Bears bench is, and he knows behind the Bears bench there's going to be Bears fans lined up. And he walks down, and boom, right in the center of the fray. And those are the things. Listen, I get, if I was an owner, I'd probably end up doing the same thing, but I'll be goddamn if I'm not gonna be bending over fucking backwards to not only win, but to improve my fucking franchise every single day at every fucking moment. But George just walks down there, and that to them is everything. That's doing business right. You know what I mean? That's turning over every rock, because I'm going to walk down there with the fans. And George was super fucking cordial. He was great with my son. Joe came down just a little bit late, and I'm like, there's George. He's like, oh shit. He's like, I just missed him. I'm like, let's go, dude. He'll take a picture with you. So Joe and I went up a few steps and grabbed George, and he was cool, because like when he came down, he saw my TTNL hat. I turned around, he's like, TTNL's in the house. Yelled it right out. So he's very aware. He has openly admitted that he is on Twitter under, bullshit name, because he follows all of this shit. But this is where our ownership is.
B. Willajax. Yeah, that was definitely him.
Yeah, right. But this is what matters to them. It's like Kevin Warren. This is what worries me with Kevin Warren again. It's like, how are we gonna wedge the fucking mythical new stadium into fucking Hard Knocks, and we're gonna talk about high top chairs and shit like that? Dude, shut the fuck up about that. Nobody fucking cares until there's a deal. When there's a deal, the fans will want to hear about it. That's fine. Your fucking team is in shambles. They're not good. They're falling apart.
The locker room is clearly at odds. Look at everything
100%.
that's happened since that Washington game. What Jalen Johnson, remember, who was not a believer of Matt when he started, who was second string, fought and earned his way, and ended up saying some very complimentary things to Matt about how he got him to change up. He's speaking out. Cole is speaking out. All of these people are coming out publicly. And you've had 2 weeks in back-to-back meet where these are games that you should have won.
Yeah.
And you didn't win because your offensive coordinator cannot figure out how to use talent.
Cars, tell me when you're watching this. Tell me when you're fucking watching a Bears game that Shane Waldron doesn't look like he's going to piss his pants at any moment.
You pointed out the first one when it was like his hand was shaking.
Yeah.
And, I use this line quite a lot where there's an episode of Simpsons.
Yep.
Where you learn that Flanders was an out-of-control kid to hippie parents. And they're in front of a counselor, and the parents go, dude, we've tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. I mean, listen, I'm not saying Khalil Herbert is in the same breath as Greg Olsen. But Khalil Herbert has been an explosive guy in the run game. We've seen him in certain screen passes where he can make a play, and you can't find snaps for him.
Right.
You can't find. Go ahead.
No. Just he can talk. This is what we're talking about. Look at his. That's an issue, man.
And the thing is where is your confidence coming from? It is one thing if we went out and dominated a really good defense, but we just went for bullshit points against two of the easier teams to pass it against. It made our line work bad. And the line, again, all of this relates back to a play caller that is below average. We talk a lot about, Luke Getsy and how his script was great and then it fell apart.
He knew how to get DJ Moore involved.
But you know what?
Yeah.
He got us points in the first. We're the worst first quarter team in football.
Yep. No, I get it.
That takes a lot to be the worst. Think of these teams. Carolina is a better first quarter football team than us. The fucking Carolina Panthers, the New England Patriots. These teams don't have near the talent we do.
No.
And it's forcing us to talk about Caleb again, who has problems. But
yeah, he has. He's been far from perfect. But again, and this is, I am not there, and I know that there is people that are there, and that's fine. I know the way that I look at this, and I'm still not trading Caleb Williams for any of the other rookie quarterbacks in this class. I'm just not. We're 8 games in, and come call me an idiot after the story has been written if I'm wrong, and I'll own up to it. I got zero problem doing that. But it's Cars. It's more of the same. And I mean, everybody, hey, the Bears have never made a move in season. Well, maybe that's part of the fucking problem then. Maybe you need to change it up. And who was it? Go ahead.
You're right though. Guys, we sit down and talk about it. How many Super Bowls have there been? Right? How many Super Bowls? We have been to 2.
2, yeah.
We have won 1. We're not sitting down and talking about like, this is the way we always have done it. Like it is some positive thing. This is
no,
not
that's
positive.
That's the thing.
But, yeah.
But it goes back to Cars, and I hate to bring up the high top seats in the fucking stadium that's not even brought up. But this is why at training camp, who was your boy Roy was the original dude. Remember back in the day?
Oh yeah,
that was sending out footage on social media, and everybody loved him. And then it was the Greg Braggs rule because everybody knew who Braggs was, and he was at every practice and sending shit out. And now the Bears are focused on that and have been, and they have security guards walking up to people during training camp and staring. Yeah, you come take my fucking phone. Come take my fucking phone. Get the fuck out of here. But this is the shit that they're worried about. You're not worried about going out and building a respectable fucking offensive line or building a respectable fucking team. Bringing in a head coach that may make the ownership feel a little bit fucking uneasy because he's got no problem telling you to go sit in your fucking office, do your thing, stay out of my way, let me coach this fucking team. No, because all of these guys, Cars, it's like the villain from Scooby-Doo, and they pull the fucking mask off, and every one of these motherfuckers is the same. You tell me the difference between Dick Geron, Lovie Smith, Mark Trestman, Matt Nagy, John Fox, and Matt Eberflus. They're all essentially the same fucking person. Now, Lovie was able to have some success. He never figured out the offensive side of the ball. But the thing about it is nobody wants to talk about it either. Lovie made decisions. Let's go to the fucking Super Bowl with a young team on defense filled with stars that are ascending, and let's launch the defensive coordinator because I want to promote Bullet Bob Babbage. My guy.
I'm tired of the attention that Ron Rivera is.
Exactly.
And guess what happened after he left? Didn't even have anything to do with Babbage. Guess what? The defense fell apart because you couldn't call plays as good as Ron Rivera. Ego took over.
Yep, exactly. 100%, Cars. You're 100% right. And listen, I'm not the biggest Cliff Kingsbury fan, and I wasn't about bringing him in to be the OC, but kind of behind the scenes, and everybody knows that we know some people, and you hear us talking about it. But the rumor is, and it's a little more than rumor, we'll say, Cliff wanted the fucking job and didn't get the job because why? And you have any idea, Cars? No, not even that. Because Caleb Williams. It's because of Caleb. You bring in Cliff, the direct connection to Caleb Williams, and then you see old little Matty Eberflus over there that might get pushed to the fucking background when the franchise quarterback is putting the spotlight on Cliff Kingsbury. So we can't bring that here. We can't bring that here because we have to protect a head coach. And that fucking falls
10 and
straight
20
on fucking Matt Eberflus and straight on fucking Ryan Poles in their relationship. It just
10 and at that point in time, a coach who has gone 10 and 24.
Yeah.
A man who has, at that point, his best victory was over a New England Patriots team his first year. That is who this is.
And Cars, why was Cliff Kingsbury so standoffish when we were going into the Commanders week when they were asking him about potentially getting the job in Chicago? I don't know if you saw that.
Mm-mm.
He was annoyed as fuck.
Because
it was for a reason, because he wanted to fucking be here. He wanted to be connected to Caleb. That's what we were told. I wasn't the biggest Cliff guy, but that's the shit. That's the vindictive shit that the Bears go down these fucking wormholes to do.
And the thing is we know, we've seen it time and time again, right? We've seen them make those decisions and do that. They don't deserve the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
If you sat down and said, listen, we don't want Cliff because we think Shane is a better play caller, or if that is the decision criteria, as much as I disagree with it, I can at least sit down and be like, okay, I can understand how. Right. But if it's because you want the microphone and the client and you want it to be on you and you want the attention for when this franchise gets turned around, guess what? If it doesn't get turned around, the camera's on you.
Yeah.
If your new offensive coordinator sucks, that's on you. And guess what? That means you get fired.
Yeah. Bob, nobody reported that publicly. That's why I phrased it that we were told. And we were told by two people. And let's just say that's two people that we know very well and that have
well connected.
Very well connected. But that is the shit that the Bears do. And it's sad. And it's a fuck you to the fans. It's a fuck you to Caleb Williams. It really is. And this is the thing. Where's the...
You let them build up.
Right here, Frank. And it's true. Yeah. Cliff can still replace him. You think George McCaskey and this fucking franchise is going to pivot and say the guy that wasn't good enough to be our OC 12 months ago is now going to be good enough to be our head coach? You think the Bears are going to go down that fucking avenue? No fucking way. Especially if Ryan Poles is here. There ain't no fucking way.
It's just awful. You know, it's this whole thing, and I'm not picking on you. Yeah, there's got to be changes, but it's not that alone. Right now, you could have the best line in football. It's not going to matter. And the reason it's not going to matter is because your play caller sucks. The reason it doesn't matter is because these players do not give a shit about this coaching staff anymore.
They don't.
when you heard the interview with TJ Edwards, and they're sitting there, and he's talking about, we did this for ourselves. We had this meeting because we needed to hold each other accountable, because we needed to do. That's an indictment of the staff. When you piggy that back on with what Cole Kmet said about, yeah, man, we got to police ourselves about finishing plays and finishing practice and doing these sorts of things in drills. Where's the problem?
Exactly, man. But this is the Orange Bear. This is yes. That is the key to everything. Build in the trenches. It's great. How is that? Is that going to change? Having guys running the routes in the same fucking area, having zero rhythm and I understand. Yeah, you're going to get rhythm with a good offensive line. You have to have a proper play caller that knows what he is doing, and Waldron does not. He didn't even in Seattle. Brock Heward called every fucking game and was on with Waddle and Sylvie 9 months ago. And they asked him, this was before the Justin trade, what is it going to be like, with Shane Waldron, if he's the guy that they bring in here? What is it going to be like? He's like, guys, I just don't see it. He's like, game after game after game. He had no rhythm. He had no semblance of how to call a run game. And it was just like Phil says, it was like he was playing PlayStation. He was on his Xbox. It's just like, oh, we'll try that. And it's the same thing over and over again. Everybody knows if you have a top flight offensive line or defensive line, that's going to help. It is going to help. You still have to have competency at OC at the end of the fucking day that can call a legitimate game, because it's I'm assuming you have not watched any tape. Not you, Cars. I'm talking to Orange Bear, because this is the thing. Yes, Orange Bear. How many guys have been in the same? How many guys on critical fucking downs have been in the same fucking area?
How many times are we running deep routes on third down and slow developing? So if the line is giving you the 9th best time to pressure in the NFL in a week at 2.71 seconds, guess what? The problem isn't the line. The problem is during that 2.7 seconds that no one is getting open, because not every time, but consistently people are not open because you are bunching receivers to the same side of the field. And yes, at some point when the offense is stagnating, the quarterback is going to hold on to the ball more and hoping to take a big play because nothing else is happening. It is, again, the line is not perfect, but us sitting down to all of this, if there are checkdowns, the checkdown is the fucking problem, Orange Bear. The checkdown is supposed to be your last resort. There are 3 other people in a resort. That is an outlet. If you can't always have to go to an outlet, guess what? Your offense sucks. This is no longer just we can run screen plays, we can dump off, we can do this, we can get 2 yards, we can get 4 yards. Great. You still have to score the ball. You still have to get 15, 20-yard chunk plays. You still have to actually do this thing called a vertical pass game that our offensive coordinator can't figure out. So, yeah, he's not perfect. The line isn't perfect.
But this is what we've said, Orange Bear, too. We've said that we're not saying that it's specific just to Waldron. We said Caleb hasn't played good enough. We said DJ Moore hasn't played good enough. We know that Keenan hasn't been the Keenan Allen that we've seen in the past. But then it comes back to what? Then it comes back to coaching. Because why do you have a 40-year-old Mercedes Lewis that is saying, I want to be coached harder. I want to be held accountable in practice. When we fuck up in a walkthrough, I don't know. Let's stop the fucking practice, figure the shit out, get it right, and then move on. Let's not just fucking move on and not do anything about it, because guess what? That's exactly what this coaching staff was doing. They were not holding players accountable when they were fucking up in practice. That's why Cole Kmet came out and said, yeah, there's guys in the fucking weight room when they're supposed to be doing 12 reps. They're looking around and they're doing 8. That's good enough. Shit like that matters. That is culture. That is coaching. That is your front office. This is what you've built. Players need to hold each other accountable. And if they're not going to, then you need to have a fucking coaching staff and a front office that will. That's how they fucked up the Tyreek Stevenson situation, because the fucking night, if I was the GM, and I said this live on air on BHL, if I was the GM that fucking night on the plane, I would have moved everybody out of the seat next to Flus and said, what is your thoughts on this situation? This is what I think. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk to Tyreek Stevenson on the plane ride. We're going to talk to him when he gets back, and that shit's going to be handled right then and there. He's not waiting until fucking Wednesday to say that you're being demoted. It's Bush League amateur hour bullshit. But that's exactly why the Bears are a laughingstock nationally and a bottom barrel team for most of all of our lives. That's how they run shit, because they're more worried about the owner coming down and signing autographs and the optics of that. And, we love Dick Geron and we can't fire him because he goes to the same church that we do every Sunday. Come on. This is big boy fucking football. It's time to treat it like that. And you're right. You got to build the fucking lines. That's why I was all over the Bears going on. I love Rome Odunze. I love Rome. I'm not saying anything negative about him, but that's why I was all in on the Bears going after one of these offensive linemen at 9, or trying to bounce back a little bit, grabbing another asset and getting another big body in here, because I'm not a believer. Darnell Wright hasn't taken the next step at all. Now he's hurt. And I would not be shocked at all if you saw Darnell Wright at right tackle next year, and every fucking player to his left is different next year in 2025. Would you be shocked, Cars?
No. And at what point, like, who do you keep? You talk about.
Yeah, Darnell is the only one that is going to be here set in stone next year. You don't know beyond that.
And you shouldn't. There's no reason, as the way the season is played, there is no reason for Tevin Jenkins to get the extension that other guards have gotten. There's just no reason for it. There's no, Karan, for being a rookie, like, he had his issues and you could see some of the physical traits, but you haven't seen enough that he's going to be able to play. So yeah, you're easily talking about 4 new starters.
Right. And again, Orange Bear, I'm not saying we're talking about starters. I'm not saying
you can't sit down and complain about the line and then say you got to keep stuff.
You got to keep them, because
pick
that's
a
the
lane.
thing. Yeah, exactly. We're saying in a perfect world, Braxton Jones is a fucking swing tackle.
Yes.
That is our point. Are you giving Tevin Jenkins $100 million contract? There's no fucking way I am. Are you going into 2025 with Coleman Shelton as your starting center, or Ryan Bates as your starting center? There's no fucking way. Will Ryan Poles? Maybe. He's in year 3. We've been out there with Lucas Patrick. We've been out there with Coleman Shelton. Ryan Bates is clearly his boy. This is the Bears. It's nauseating.
It's just infuriating. We can sit here and argue about players all you want. You can sit here and argue. The players have changed a lot in my 40 plus years watching this team. The players have changed.
Yeah.
What has remained consistent? What remained consistent for this century? Which, by the way, and to remind everybody, we're what, like the 4th worst team?
Well, that's Carter.
How
many times have you and I talked about, the Bears fans trying to talk shit to Detroit before Detroit has turned around here in the last couple of years? That's who we are.
Oh, when you now with the last 2 years and you look at it, we're worse. The only teams to my memory that are worse than us are the New York Jets the Cleveland Browns. I think there's one or two others, but that's not a great list. Like, we are on par with the Browns and the Jets.
Yeah.
And
But that's
I don't know that keeps you like the Raiders. Richard Gordon's right. The Raiders are in that list. But since 2010, we are terrible. We can't talk smack.
The Panthers are better than us since then.
Oh, yeah.
Fair truth.
The last couple of years they've been bad, but before then they were significantly better.
Saints have definitely been better and more viable.
But it's the players have changed. Everything has changed. The people making the decisions have not. The Buccaneers are one of the teams that are below us because we are the 8th worst. That's right. Since then, we have what is it? We have gone 104 and 131 since 2010.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Go ahead.
No, you just look at this and you go, the Lions have 108 wins in the same time period. You want to go up even more? The Packers are 3rd best at 151. The Vikings have 122. This means that basically for 20 years, we win 1 game less a year than the Vikings and 2 games less a year than the Packers. We're supposed to be competing with the Packers. We're losing to the Lions. No shame right now because they're a fantastic franchise that is on the up and winning games. But we are 4th place in the division by a game plus a year.
I brought this up last night too, Cars, and I said that's the thing, Bears fans in the tunnel, and you see it everywhere. I always laugh because it doesn't matter. You heard it in Arizona. I heard it in Buffalo. I have videos on my phone in Buffalo. The chant is always Green Bay sucks. Well, they don't. They don't suck. They're much better than the team that we root for and watch every single week. They're a better run organization. They develop players better. They beat us every single year. But we're going to chant Green Bay sucks because that's the cool thing to do. It's fucking ridiculous. And somebody brought up Karan Amagaji, and this is classic Chicago. Karan has talent. I understand that. There's no fucking way that a competent GM is going to look at Karan Amagaji and mark him down in pen for 2025 as a starter if you know what you're doing. And Cars, it's what they're going to fucking do. It's what they're going to do.
No, they're not. It's going to be Braxton Jones, but the point is still correct.
So it's but do you see my point? And we talked about this. I talked about this with Tevin. Tevin, in a perfect world, if he stays healthy, and he never does, you love the edge that he can play with. The consistency just is not there. That's why you can't pay him. That's why I feel like he's going to be a former Bear in 2025. But that's the fucking thing, man. Braxton Jones, Karan Amagaji, they're guys that are just probably going to be good enough. Maybe they can get you to mediocre or just above. And in the NFL, a lot of people don't want to believe it. That's what most offensive lines are. They just have competency at play caller and coaching that can mask some of those fucking warts. That doesn't
Kansas
exist
City's
in Chicago.
Offensive line is trash.
Yeah.
Look, Phillies is not the same because Jordan has been out and Lane has been out and Kelsey's gone. It is, you're 100% right. And I have to rant for half a second. Please stop with the Tevin Jenkins should play left tackle.
Oh, yeah. This
is performance over politics, there's been nothing in his performance that shows he deserves that position. So if you say, like, that's how you fix it, you're just high on your own supply.
Well, yeah, that's Phil's MO there. I mean, move him to left tackle, and that's what it is. And I understand he's got the physical traits to play out there, but Cars, they don't trust him at guard. You think they're going to trust him at tackle?
It's not just they don't trust him physically to be there. They don't trust him mentally to be in the headspace, which, by the way, was what Gundy said.
Exactly.
Isn't it Gundy? Am I saying it? Yeah, it is, right?
Yeah, the Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State. It's the same thing that guy said coming out, right?
Yeah.
And Lawrence, you're right. You don't give Brisker at this point a second contract. You can't.
100% right. We had that talk too. You know, I said, because listen, you're going to have to start thinking about contracts for potentially a Brisker and Gordon, and it's easy. It's easy who you're going to be paying there. It's Kyler Gordon. Yes, he's been nicked up. There hasn't been anything too serious, but listen, Jaquan Brisker's concussion last year, he was out for a long time. Has he ever played a preseason game since he's been in the league? I don't think so.
No.
And now he's out over a month with this concussion. And, you know, everybody is different. And listen, I love Jaquan Brisker. I love the way that he plays. Super nice guy. Yeah. Got to chat with him just for a couple of seconds in Buffalo. Good dude. Super cordial to the fans, shit like that. But it's just what it is. You can't mark him down in Penn. Are you gonna invest in him? There's no way. You can't.
You can joke and sit down and say, right, like, and make fun of it, but there's truth to the statement. The best ability is availability. If I can't rely on you down in, down out, if I can't rely you mentally to be there or physically to be there, and let's be real, the man quit his rookie season with the back stuff. He quit. That's what happened. And so, yes, he got better last. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that's just going back to your Gundy thing, and that's Tevin. Listen, the Bears traded up for Tevin Jenkins. The day after the draft, what happened? They fucking released Charles Leno.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck, bro. These dudes believe it. They traded up for me. I'm the fucking left tackle. And how many games has Tevin played in his career?
God, it's roughly 40% now, I think, because he's played more this year. I think he's at like 40% of the games.
Yeah,
it's just so frustrating because I think we all sit down, and I'm just as guilty about it as everybody. You draft these players and you just start to go, all right, I feel some home runs here, right? I feel this. I feel this is coming.
Kevin White, baby, we got our number one for the next 12 years.
But even outside of the first round, we have unrealistic expectations for second, third, fourth round guys.
Cars, it's like people calling, a fifth round pick a complete bust. I mean, it's
first and second rounds are the only ones to me you can ever call a bust.
Exactly.
And after that, anything you hit, and let's be real, the percentage of hitting in the second round is so much less than that of the first, but it is so much more than that of the third. Like, it is, even in deep drafts, you're talking about, for every Puka, there are 48 other wide receivers drafted that don't make it.
100%, man. 100%. And I mean, look at what wide receiver on the Bears got a ton of praise in this past preseason?
DJ.
Well, DJ, but
Tyler Scott got a lot.
Tyler Scott.
Yeah.
And where is he? I picked him to be my surprise cut on the Bears, right? And I wasn't that fucking far off.
He might as well have been.
Right. But this is actually, Alex H asks this, I don't think Tevin, I think that would be the best thing for the Bears. If he wanted to accept the 1-year deal, I would have zero issue doing that. The problem is, Alex, is there's so much money available to teams with the cap going up and up and up. That's why when you see Carolina they gave both their guards $100 million deals, right?
Yep.
Somebody's going to say, fuck it. This guy is 26, 27 years old. When healthy, has everything that we want. We're going to roll the fucking dice here. I think there's going to be a team out there I feel like is going to pay Tevin.
I don't think anybody will. Like,
you don't think that they will?
it'll
that
be
there's
on a
things-
1 or 2 year prove it deal
Yep.
because because offensive line is such an issue
That's
across
why,
the NFL.
right? We talked about it. The kid in Philly, that bowed out with the Jets, Mekhi Becton.
Mekhi Becton, yeah.
Dude's gonna fucking cash in, man.
Oh, massively.
And you know what's gonna happen? He's gonna revert back to being Mekhi Becton after he gets fucking paid.
Or what's most likely going to happen is that someone's going to look at it as like, man, he did really well at guard. He's ready to be a tackle now, and they're going to move him back out to tackle, and that might be it. It's the offensive line is a massive problem. If you look at some of the reason why San Francisco is struggling, guess what it is? It's the offensive line. We talk all the time about how good CJ Stroud's rookie year was. What's not good this year? CJ Stroud's season. Why is it not good? Because their offensive line with Laramie Tunsil is still bad. 3 weeks ago, he threw for 86 yards in a football game.
Yep.
Offensive lines across the NFL are a massive problem. But teams have gotten away with it with great play calling.
Absolutely, because that's what we started off the show with. There's ways to cover it up. And listen, not all the time. It's not going to be pretty all the time. And that's when you're talking about running the fucking football, a lot of the times it's, and I think fantasy football, and you guys have heard me talk about the Madden age that we're in with younger fans. It's all about stats, and it's, oh shit, he only ran for 4.1 yards per carry. That's bullshit. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's 2, 2, 3, but when you add those up, that's like with a guy like Roshan Johnson, that's has been pretty good at the fucking goal line. But classic case right there, Cars, when we're talking about the OC. You bring in Roshan, who has not been stopped on goal line runs yet. Only guy in the NFL so far. But we're handing it off to our 4th string center. And then the motherfucker doubles down on it and said, yeah, I would call it again in a heartbeat because we repped it in practice.
And
that's
let's
what
take
we're
that a step
talking about.
Let's take that a step further. It was after week 3 that we were told that Khalil Herbert is their goal line back.
Yeah.
Where have they ever used him? Never.
No.
It's
Cars. He was your starter last year. Do you remember that? This is what we talk about, guys. Listen, we're on air every week talking about this shit. We take it. I know we joke and bust balls, but we take very serious what we do. The Bears do shit through the media because they think they're smarter than everyone. Khalil Herbert's been working all off season on his pass pro. He's really stepped it up there. He's put in the work. He's lived in Hallis Hall. And like I said, go to the fucking first snap last year. The first fucking one in the first snap of 2023. What happens? Khalil Herbert, pass pro, whiffs on a fucking block. And what happened? Justin got fucking hit. The first fucking play. Don't you remember all those years with Lovey? We're going to, hey guys, we're going to get off. We're going to get off the bus running the football. And then Kyle Orton comes out and throws the ball 46 times. This is what the Bears do. They're just smarter than everybody else in their own world. They're still doing it, Cars, like you said. Khalil Herbert's our goal line back. The fuck he is? You drafted a kid in the 4th round. Franchise pillar, right? Ryan Poles, right? Franchise pillar. But Khalil Herbert, oh, by the way, who's on TV right now? Is that him that just fumbled the fucking football?
It is.
Perfect fucking timing. Fuck out of here, Khalil.
I want to answer this, and if so, you'll excuse me. And Scottish, this is not an attack, but the pressure rate is a concern. But this is one of those things where you have to look at a marriage of the numbers. And what I mean by that is, do you know who has the 6th highest time to pressure in the NFL? Meaning which player it takes longer for opposing teams to generate pressure on? Number 6 is Caleb Williams at almost 2.7 seconds until pressure. When you look at people below him, this is Lamar Jackson at 2.6. This is Justin Herbert at 2.59. Jared Goff at 2.59. So when you look at some of these numbers and you're like, where's Jordan Love? 2.5 seconds. Where is, we play Kyler? 2.5 seconds. 2.5 seconds for Matt Stafford. 2.5 seconds for Drake May. All these people, they are a 1/10 or more, or 0.2 of a second slower to generate pressure on. But guess what's happening? People are getting open. What's not happening here? They're not. I'm not saying the line is perfect, but we can't just look and say, wow, that pressure rating is really high. That's a problem. You have to look at that pressure rating and the time to pressure. And when you look at two of those, what does that tell you? Is that systematically the problem is the scheme. Because if you look, the people up above him, you're talking about Mahomes, Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Brock Purdy. Do you have any problem with those schemes? Probably have some with Philadelphia, but their talent is so obscene. But you're talking about, does Mahomes have a great offensive line? No. Does he have just finally got a receiver after Rice got injured? Does Washington have a great line? No. Does Denver? No. Does San Francisco with all those injuries? No. But what's happening? People are getting schemed open. How many times have we sat in a game watching LaFleur and all of a sudden we see some random Samari Toure just running free in the middle of the field, 20 yards downfield, not two.
Current Bear, by the way.
Yes. How many times do we see Christian Watson doing that? Wide open. I'm not talking about a fucking check down. I'm talking about 10 yards down the field, 20 yards down the field, where these guys are open. Guess what? The problem there, their offensive line is not holding and sustaining a block for as long as our offensive line is, and yet they're getting 20-yard chunk plays, and we're talking about our guys missing a check down because no one's open. The problem is your route concepts. The problem is that you cannot use every blade of grass. Everybody is sitting there dropping multiple people into coverage, and you're running everybody to the same side of the field.
Yep.
Why?
How's DeAndre Swift looked on screen passes this year, Cars?
Really good.
See any last week?
Nope.
Against a team that was fucking firing off the ball and coming after you at the highest fucking rate all season? We see any?
Nope.
Who's that on?
When I sit down and say these things, I don't want people to understand, like, I don't want people to think that I'm coming at you, because if I do, I'm a bigger jerk about when I'm coming directly at you. But the problem is I think we all sit down and focus on a single thing, whether it's the quarterback missing some things, whether it's the offensive line from play to play, whether it's the wide receivers. The biggest thing is to get people open. That doesn't happen. This is no longer the old way of punch and go down the field slowly when every other team can sit down and score and make a big play and you're right back at it. You need to be a team that is averaging 25 fucking points plus a game to be a playoff team. You have to be, let me repeat that, 25 points a game if you want to be a good playoff team that can make a run. Where are we sitting? Right?
Ouch.
It's awful. And so all of these things, you want us to run check downs and do that? Great. Where are we getting better? What is that win doing? It is covering up for the fact that the offense is broken. And Scott, I was not trying to call you out or anything. I'm just saying, like, when you look at something and you're like, I think the line's the problem, and I look at it and I see all these numbers that prove the line is the problem. It is part of the problem, but the biggest issue right now is that there's no consistency play in, play out. Full stop. If you look and watch it, how Washington schemed Diami Brown wide open, Diami Brown would be 4th wide receiver on this football team. He's wide open. We have 2 guys who are multiple-time Pro Bowl wide receivers, and we can't get them as open as a guy who would be a 4th-string person on our team. Is that the line's fault? Or is that the scheme's fault?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're not defending the offensive line, but there's ways, there's workarounds for it, and we're just not seeing that in Chicago. And you can see it. Cars, and again, it comes down to, and we understand, and I know a lot of people have talked about it in there, and there was checkdowns there for Caleb. But at some fucking point, these other teams are going to adjust to that too. And yes, you want to be able to hit the guys up top. And it's part of the peaks and valleys that you're living with a rookie quarterback trying to get a spark because they don't believe in the play caller to do it, to do the right things. That's why when you're looking at the all 22, you have a guy like DJ Moore at 27 years old has been a big time wide receiver, and Keenan Allen in the same fucking area, 1.5 yards apart, both running the same route. Shane Waldron is not a first-time play caller. It's baffling how you can get a little bit of legitimacy in here. I'm not going to say that Shane Waldron is completely fucking clueless. I don't think he is. I just don't think he's good at his job. Right. Does not adjust. It's the same
thing with Matt. Eberflus can't adjust. He can adjust with new talent comes in. But Billings, him out, that defense is in a significant amount of trouble right now.
It is, Cars. And you know what? And listen, I'm not saying that you need to go out, but what is their answer to it? What is their pivot now that he is out? What has been the Bears' pivot? It's sign another DB off your fucking practice squad and then sign another DB that flamed out someplace else. Why not bring in another fucking body on the defensive line that has some size to it? You never fucking, but the roster, the bottom part of the roster construction with Ryan Poles, I've always had an issue. I can remember on TTNL how excited we were last year when the Bears actually earned the number 1 pick themselves, or 2 years ago, I could say, when we earned it themselves. And then we went into the season and we're like, oh, this is going to be great. All of these teams, when they're releasing their players, were number 1 in the waiver wire. Or,
oh, we can't wait. We get first choice
from everybody. And what was our fucking move? Khalid Kareem. That was the Bears' move. Take advantage of that shit. And I just do not feel like they are. Travarius Moore, how many weeks in a row? You know what I mean? And I understand there's rules to practice squad guys being brought up.
No, you're right.
Bring in another fucking defensive tackle, a guy that's got some size. Listen, you drafted the fucking kid from Kennesaw, right? And then you brought him back and you released him again. Give him a fucking shot. You saw something. Get him into the rotation. Who the fuck knows? But I don't understand it. I don't. But you know who they're going to rely on, Cars? Zach Pickens now, who's wildly underperformed, who looks completely out of shape.
Oh, I sadly think it's going to be worse than that. And they're going to take everything that Javon Dexter is doing.
Yeah.
And they're going to move him to that position now and hope that Chris Williams and DeMarcus Walker will pick up Dexter's weight. And so you're going to play, outside of the way that defense ended last year, they have been gashed at the run for most of Flus's time here.
Yeah.
They got much better when Sweat came in, but the way you beat the Bears is through the ground. So what has he done that has gotten better? He added Montez Sweat, TJ Edwards, and Tremaine Edmonds, and their talent made everything better. But teams, what do good offensive coordinators do every season?
Mm-hmm.
They adjust. You know who's really good at this is Shanahan will spend all season and he'll be running a play, and he'll do offshoots of that play.
Yeah.
And the next season, what does he do? He runs a play that looks like that, but it has different offshoots. And then when you're less thinking about it, like, oh, he's going to run the new one, then he reverts back to the old. He is always making you guess.
And you know what the Bears counter to that is? You know what their ingenuity is, Cars?
It's going to go to the linebacker.
It's it's in Washington on second down. You do QB draw,
and then QB draw,
and then you do QB draw again on third down. That's
brilliant.
Yeah,
and awesome. Then you have a running back in Roshan Johnson who has shown great success inside the 5 and inside the 10, and you're going to hand the ball off to Doug Kramer.
Yeah. And this is actually great. What did Carroll do to manage Waldron?
He sat in those meetings.
Well, which I think Flus has talked about, but Bob, the biggest difference is he had the fucking accountability and the respect of all the players. And you see, listen, I think Flus is probably a super nice guy. And what does Cap say? He'd probably be an awesome neighbor. Bring you.
Oh, over. He would mow your lawn if you were out of town.
Bring you over some honey, shit like that, right? But he held the players accountable. They knew who the fucking leader of the franchise was, and it all filtered through Pete. Every single fucking move filtered through Pete. That ain't happening in Chicago with Matt Eberflus. When you have veterans on your team saying, we need to be coached harder. And you're having these meetings with your leadership council all the time. And I think the one this past week got a little bit overblown when TJ Edwards said it. I don't know if you got to listen to Cole Kmet on the 85 podcast. He said, yeah, it wasn't really a special meeting. He goes, it just ended up being our team. It wasn't with leadership. It wasn't he said it was just our regular meeting that we have every week. Guys just spoke up in front of the entire team.
But I think so. Yeah, I think that does in a way make it better, but that also makes it worse.
Oh, no. I get it. No, I get exactly what you're saying, but I just wanted to get that out there that it wasn't hey, we need to pull this leadership committee in again and have this meeting about it. It was up front.
Oh,
with everybody.
But I mean, we've all been, and I know you know this, but it's like we've all been on sports teams, and it's great to have good team leadership internal to the team.
Yep.
But if you're doing this stuff because your coach isn't doing it, is not being the bellwether for us, you know what the problem is. I mean, remember when we won that Jacksonville game and they showed the video of Flus in the locker room?
Yeah.
And he's wanting to thank the equipment managers and how they got everybody prepared for this. And not that that's not important, but that's not the fucking point you make.
Right. Exactly.
That's a cuck move as a head coach, basically.
Listen, T-Med has been there longer than fucking anybody. It says a lot about T-Med that they keep him on fucking stat. And that's the respect that he's earned. And listen, You can go up to him after a game and give him his praise and shit, but you're 100% right, Cars. You're 100% right. He knew the fucking cameras were on him and all of that shit, and you're going down, listing all of that shit, and it's again, it's fake shit that the Bears do. It's just like when Caleb's out there the other day answering fucking questions after the second pivotal loss, and the fucking, was it Scott Hagel or whatever the guy's name is? No more. If I was Caleb Williams, you know what I would say? No, we're good.
Yeah,
we're good. We need to talk about this. Let's get this out there.
You can't hide from this.
Right.
The thing is this shit matters to the fans more than most any sport here in Chicago.
Yeah.
And it's not even close. And there's a lot of reasons for it. But even for you, right? Like, you like your teams. But who's the one we sit down and talk about every week? Even when there's not even the off-season program going, what are you and I and Ryan texting about?
Exactly.
This fucking football team.
Yeah.
And as owners, you can do two things. You can appreciate that and use that to try to help you and guide you and encourage you to do the right thing, because your team, your fans have encouraged you, have supported you. To your earlier point, Green Bay sucks as a chant. And they don't.
They don't.
Do.
Yeah, exactly.
But your fans are so hardcore into you that that's what you do. And how do you reward them?
That's why that's why like the Bears and all of that shit drove me crazy for so fucking long. And 85, all of that shit. That's fine. Honor them. I get it. Everything beyond that has been nowhere near good enough. Let me ask you this. Okay, Matt Eberflus. What do they say when you want to bet on a game? What's one of the things that they say? Bet if you can't figure out who to bet on the best quarterback, right? That's sometimes what they say. And I'm not saying that works all the time. Just trying to make an example.
You got it.
Matt Eberflus has been here for 42 games. How many times has he been the best coach in any of those 42? That would be 0 times, Cars. 0. Maybe 1 or 2, because Frank Reich, when Carolina was falling apart, it's under 5. Let's just say that.
You're 100% right, because Matt Stafford is the best quarterback he's beaten, and it took him not having Puka or Cooper Kupp for that to happen.
Exactly.
And this is a franchise that has made the playoffs 6 times this century. And it's not 2006, sadly. No. They've made it 6 times. In this life, how many times have they scored over 400 points in a season? 3 times this century. 3 times.
Let that shit sink in. Yeah.
How many times has it been over 350? I think it's 6 times in 20 years.
It's brutal.
This franchise is the one thing that most Chicago teams have is, hey, we won once. What do you want from us? You're the Chicago Cubs. Guess what? We won once. We're going to do that. We're the Chicago White Sox. Nobody gives a shit. We're the Blackhawks. Hey, remember when we had Kane and Taves and Duncan Keith? Man, that was great. Hey, remember the Bulls? And when our owner was like, no, we can win without Michael Jordan. We've got Jerry Krause. He's more important.
Yeah.
These are our owners in the end, because we have no one here is going to go root for the Milwaukee Bucks or the Milwaukee Brewers or the Green Bay Packers that has ever been a Bear fan. They've got us.
Yeah.
And
Scottish Bears got the best comment of the night right there. That's what it is. And listen, I'm going to I fly to Chicago tomorrow with my son. I said to Riley, I'm like, you know what? We should cancel the fucking trip. Because I was pissed, after the game last week. Because I'm like, Riley's like, why'd you make me a Bears fan? And I get, believe me, I get it. We're not going to change our allegiances, but it's disgusting that we're more concerned about getting down and mingling with the fans behind the players bench because I got to meet the owner of a $6 billion franchise, and you may be scared to buy out your fucking piece of shit coach that's in over his head, that doesn't have the respect of the players, all over the almighty dollar. Let's be honest. When you have a fucking franchise that's worth $6 billion, Cap said it perfectly. It's like having TTNL network and having to replace your $100 fucking headphones. You know what I mean? It's just,
This is a franchise that spent $200 million on Arlington Park and is continuing to entertain the fact that they want to build a stadium downtown Chicago. Well, guess what? You could fire Matt Eberflus if you don't buy Arlington Park, if you don't want to leverage it. Don't tell me you're poor anymore. You had to have cash available to make that acquisition. You have to have cash available to develop that land. You don't need to have cash if you have the city do it. And guess why they're trying to get the city to do it? Because they don't want to spend the money. This is a franchise that, they've gotten better. Pace made them pay for the Palace Hall expansions, and that's been wonderful. But everything else, the Green Bay Packers are owned by a board. It's supposed to be public. And guess what? People buy shares of that to think that they have a vote in anything, and they don't.
Yeah.
But guess what? Their ownership group is better than our ownership group
Hell
right
yeah,
now.
it is. Yeah.
Because they prioritize winning. We prioritize concessions and parking and return on investment.
Yeah, they don't even give a shit about parking. Let's be honest.
No, they don't get any of it, which is part of the reason why they need to leave. But
right.
This is where we are. We sit down as a franchise and we spend $200 million to buy a piece of real estate so that we could build the stadium that we've always wanted and that fans deserve. And you hire someone that's going to sit down and says, I think the Bears need to stay in the lakefront and on Chicago where there's no space, no parking, anything else. This is who you are. This is just insane. This is insane. This is like your friend who drives a Lamborghini every day and has two homes, one on the Gold Coast and one, over in Wicker Park, and has a 6-car garage, and he'll pick you up and he's like, hey buddy, I need money for gas. Like, you're throwing money around like it's nickel plates, and then you expect the fans to accept a Happy Meal toy instead of a Lombardi trophy. Because that's where we are. We're no closer today than we ever have been to a playoff victory, to a hoisting a trophy that says we won the NFC. We won the Super Bowl. We're not any closer to that.
No, and the only, and it's not even really pushback. The only saving grace for me is, I think the true CEO of this team, Cars, and maybe the Bears are dumb enough to blow it off. But if Caleb Williams goes upstairs and makes his thoughts known after the season, that listen,
if he makes it this week.
Oh, it should be 100%. And
if he makes this,
I just don't think we've had that guy. I don't think Justin Fields was that guy. Mitch Trubisky was definitely never that guy. that was going to have that cachet and
But it's
that
coming.
firepower. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. They go out there and they get fucking boat raced by New England. And I know Ryan Cox just sent us that tweet from Bill Zimmerman, said, if the Bears lose, there's a 0% chance that we see, the Bears make a drastic move.
The
like
only
said,
reason
nobody's
it will,
shocked. Yeah.
if Caleb comes out and says something, listen, when the report came out from Jay Glazer
Mm-hmm.
that said players were frustrated that the coaches weren't held to the same level of accountability that the players are. And then everybody got all upset when Courtney had her counterpoint. And her counterpoint was simply to the Tyreek Stevenson part about pulling himself out of practice.
Yep.
But the one thing that she did not change in that statement is that players are still wondering why coaches aren't held to the same level of accountability as the players. Do you understand? Like, we all have had bosses we hate. We've all had bosses that we couldn't stand. We all still do the job. But doesn't it make it better? Aren't you more motivated to do your job when you have a boss that you actually give a shit about and who actually shows that he listens and will take care of you? You're asking all of these players to take massive hits. Keenan has been injured. DJ's been injured. All these guys have been nicked up, and you're now asking them to go take hits, continue to play for coaches who said, yeah, handing the ball to Doug Kramer was the right call. Yeah, the problem was not the play call. The problem was Tyreek Stevenson, who should have been in the right place. Not the play call that went beforehand that put them into Hail Mary range that never should have fucking happened.
Yeah, and don't even, the right play. According to Matt Eberflus, they didn't need to use the timeout because everything was set up the way that they wanted it. What about the coordinators upstairs looking down at the fucking field? What about the rest of the coaches on the fucking field? You see
what happened
that
the
shit?
next week?
Yeah, exactly.
He got so scared of it, he called a bullshit play that allowed them to get caught for a 50-plus yard touchdown on the ground.
Yeah.
And he said, that was my mistake. Okay.
Now
bench
he's
yourself as the pay caller.
Yeah.
If Tyreek was the problem for that Hail Mary and he had to sit down for 2 series, Washington has to call the plays for 2 series now. You're benched because of your fuck up. No? Okay. Shane Waldron can't call plays for 2 drives because he can't figure out how to use the wide receiver. No? Well, that's on Caleb and the offensive line. Oh, okay. Do you see why a mutiny is just under the skin right now? Do you remember how this all bubbled up under Mark Trestman?
Yeah.
It bubbled. The bubbles got really toxic. Then Lance Briggs crashed his Lambo, right? And that set everything off. And what happened? You had Bennett, who checked out, Brandon Marshall, who became a massive issue. And then you benched Jay Cutler and blamed him for it so you could start Jimmy Clausen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that what we're doing again, basically? You're telling me the problem is the players, not the play design, not the call, not the this, not that, none of that it's just the players? No. And that's the issue. That's why the players are so frustrated. When players speak out, it's because they give a shit. That they know that this is supposed to happen. And yeah, Vince, I'm just angry, so we'll just deal with whatever it is. I was wrong on the Lambo thing, but
no, but I mean, Lance Briggs was 100% a part of it because he knew that they didn't. I mean,
he wasn't going to get another deal.
Yeah, it's out there. I mean, they didn't respect Trestman at all. At all. So much. I mean,
that's right. Yeah. This was the other one. He came to over at the barbecue joint in the middle of it too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. 55, I think it was called, right? It wasn't this steak place, but
we're holding all these players to this. And the coaching staff is benching people and doing these things. And I understand at some point players need to be held accountable. But the problem is when you're not sitting there, when you're standing in front of national media saying the problem is not the play call, I don't give a shit if you go behind closed doors and say, guys, the problem was the play call. The players are seeing you throw them under the fucking bus in front of everybody. And you've been given multiple chances to pull that back and correct that as a statement. And you have double and triple down. Those players are quitting. They are in the process of. DJ Moore played his heart out last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Why do you think he's quitting now? People ask me to look his route tree. Do you know what's funny about that? You cannot find most of his games route trees because he runs so few fucking routes that they don't even bother to chart it anymore. Last week was only Rome.
And cars. So, well, I mean, this is something for next week. Go look at the route trees for the Seattle Seahawks last year.
It's the same.
It's the same fucking thing. Exactly.
But we don't. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are fantastic deep threats. Our guys are not the same deep threats. And Vince, yes, they have to take some accountability. And I just said they have to take accountability.
Let's not forget,
but the staff is not taking any accountability. Right. The players are taking all of it.
And let's not forget that. Let's not sit here and pretend like the players have taken none, because, oh yeah, by the way, they're 4-4. And I'm not praising the players for that or specifically the coaches for that. Everybody needs to be better. Everybody. Caleb, DJ, Keenan. I have belief in Caleb Williams. I have belief in DJ Moore. As bad as Keenan has been at times, I have belief in Keenan Allen if he is used and put in position to succeed. Do they need to be held accountable? Yes. I don't believe in Matt Eberflus as a head coach. I don't believe in Shane Waldron as an offensive coordinator. I don't believe that Chris Morgan should be the fucking run game coordinator on top of being the offensive line coach. I don't believe that Chris Morgan should be in an arranged marriage with Shane Waldron. I don't believe in the Bears ownership. My belief in Ryan Poles is wavering in a big fucking way. What has Kevin Warren done? I don't believe in Kevin Warren. Right now, what's Kevin Warren known for? I love the fucking spotlight. That's it. What's he done?
And unfortunately, there are things that we know that have gone on that we can't openly talk about. But just please know that this staff has done very little to endear themselves to the players.
Yeah.
And there are some whose effort, because they care and because they love this team and they love this franchise, their effort has not waned, but they're not happy. Because there is no belief. Shane Waldron is acting like Mike Martz without a ring to show for it. Matt Eberflus thinks that he is Lovie Smith without a 10-game winning season under his belt, who just has one winning streak of 3 games or more in 3 seasons.
I'll be honest, Carson. I think you were actually on the same wavelength with me. I thought Dan Campbell was going to end up being a disaster in Detroit with the way that everything started.
He was insane in that presser.
100% fucking wrong. 100%.
We laughed that they gave him a 6-year deal because you're like, what are you talking about? Ben Johnson, give him credit for finding an incredible offensive coordinator. Aaron Glenn, I think, is overrated, but he's been a solid defensive coordinator. And give Holmes all the credit for that.
That's the thing. In Carr's, his Holmes' MO has been the college portion of it. And his scouting. That's his bread and butter. And that's like you can say Aaron Glenn can be overrated as a DC, but they got some fucking horses, man, on the defensive side of the ball. Like I said, it's just how's everybody feel about our rank the head coaches in the NFC North? I mean, if we could be in 5th place, we'd be in 5th place if it was possible.
Rank him across the NFC, just the entirety of the NFC.
Yeah.
I put him above Carolina,
Right.
Carolina.
And even then, Cars, I think there's a debate there because this is his first year. Ownership there sucks. They're trying to, I mean, obviously the belief in the quarterback is not there with him because Bryce wouldn't even be playing now unless Andy, didn't get in the car accident.
I'm not the biggest Dable fan. I think he's not a good coach, but I would take him over Flus. I'd take Dan Quinn. I'm not a Nick Sirianni fan at all. I'd take him. Mike McCarthy sucks, but I would take him. Raheem Morris is doing great in Atlanta this year. Not a big fan, but I like Clint Kubiak over anybody else in New Orleans. Tampa Bay, I'm not the biggest Todd fan. Take him. So you're talking one, maybe Rich Gannon in Arizona, but because I don't think he's that good either. But you're talking about 2 teams. Let's just say it's the Bears, Packers,
Jonathan, not Rich.
Yeah. I'm so when I get so frazzled.
I'm like, when the fuck did we pivot to Rich Gannon? And I'm like, oh shit, yeah. Jonathan Gannon.
But you've got those 3. Are those franchises you want to be assigned to or on the same level of? Rank the offensive coordinators in the division. We're 5th.
Oh,
rank the defensive coordinators in the division. We're probably 3rd above. I wouldn't. I'm not a big fan of Green Bay or Glenn, but one of the 2 he would fit in between.
But the separation cars, if you go Matt LaFleur, Dan Campbell, and
Kevin
O'Connell. I mean, it's holy shit. Yeah.
It's like going from dating the prettiest girl in your school to going and dating a supermodel, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the leap that you're going from.
Yeah, it's like turning on TTNL on Friday and having Angelo breaking down tape. That's
I would pay for
that. That's Matt Eberflus.
Where is the faith that this is going to get better? This is a talented team. So take a look at that. Detroit is the most talented team. From a pure talent perspective on both sides of the ball, I would take ours over the other 2 teams. It's not even close. I think Minnesota has a pretty good offense. Their defense is nowhere near as talented.
No.
Green Bay's offensive line has fallen apart. Jordan Love, you're seeing the real true Jordan Love, which is a middle of the pack type of quarterback, and that is what it is. The Bears are the 2nd most talented team, and you could almost argue that they are the most talented team in the division on defense. And guess what?
Mm-hmm.
At this moment, we're not beating a single NFC North team this season.
Oh, hell no.
So 2nd most in talent, and we're going to be 0-6.
What do you think LaFleur's going to do coming off a fucking bye week to a Matt Eberflus coach team? Have fucking fun.
It's going to be 400 plus through the air. Actually, no, I take it back. Whenever that week comes, start Jacobs. Start him on your fantasy team.
Yeah.
Bet him the over for yardage hardcore, because guess what?
That's our next game, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we have the Patriots and then Green Bay at home.
Take Josh Jacobs. Take him for anytime touchdown scorer.
Oh, hell yeah.
And you're gonna do it. And that's where we are. You said it earlier, Shane. We walked out of London and our coaching staff said, boom, we made it.
Here we go.
We had Colin Coward singing our praises. Danny Parkins was over the moon. All these people talking about, look at this team. Look how fun and exciting they were. Look at how great of an offense. Your quarterback is picking it out. You're like, he's figuring it out. And we sit here 2 weeks later, and it's back to normal. It's back to the way that it is.
Yeah. It's all going good when you got porn bots in the chat, Cars.
It's always fun. It's a good time.
We weren't talking about you, Bob. You're not a porn bot.
You just look at this and I'll be honest, Shane, when we got to halftime this last week, I turned the game off. I couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't turn it off, but I was right there with you. I mean, it's hard, man. It's hard to get excited about the team. I mean, I'm still excited to see Caleb and the problem with Chicago, and we talked about this a little bit last night, Cars. It's not a game-to-game thing. You might get 1 or 2 games in a row, but you always know the regression is coming. You always know they're gonna settle back into who and what they are. And now you're at the point where it's so fucking bad. It's one play, and then you're like, oh fuck, here we go. And that's what we lived in. It was Justin Fields in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Last year, like, here we fucking he's hitting
arrived.
DJ. It's here we go, kicking the fucking door in. And then it's just it is what it is.
I said to Steph, it's like you're sitting on the beach and you're watching the waves retract and it keeps going farther and farther back. And you know that that's the sign of the typhoon that's about to go ahead and completely wipe you out. But you're staying in that chair just in case that it doesn't happen this time. Right? Like, I know it happened the other 10 times that thing came crashing on and caused all this devastation, but
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe this time it's going to be a little different.
Yeah.
And it just isn't until ownership really cares about winning, not winning because of anything other than they realize that as a charter franchise, what really matters to you is the fans. The only reason that you exist the way that you do now is because of the fans, and that they deserve a team that makes the playoffs more than 25% of the time.
Man, we've been kicking ourselves in the nuts for the past hour and 49 minutes, Cars. I think we can wrap it up there. I do want to just share this one more time in case there's anybody that has not seen it or anybody that is interested. The TTNL crew is going to be here on Sunday at this tailgate. If you're going to be at the game and you want to go, 22, it's Timmy from the Bus. It's his tailgate. We're going to be there. TTNL is going to be there hanging out. I'm going to be there. Cars. Ivan. I haven't talked. I don't know if Jim is coming. There's going to be a bunch of TTNL fans. 2200 South Wabash, however you pronounce it.
Thank you.
Wabash Avenue. We're going to be there. You want to buy your tickets. It's a mobile ticket. It's $50 to get in, but with that $50, right here, it's chef prepared barbecue buffet from award-winning Firewater Barbecue, full open bar, live DJ playing music, tailgate games. Opens up at 8 a.m. Should be fun. Goes until kickoff. So you want to come out if you're going to be in the area. Like I said, Cherie's going to be there. Pretty much the whole TTNL crew. Phil and Coach O, we're both going to be there. But want to send our thoughts and well wishes their way. Phil's mom's dealing with some health issues right now, so she could use everybody's positivity, as she's not doing great at the moment. I know. So, like I said, don't everybody just give Phil his space, and just, you can send some positive thoughts or whatever you believe in, send it their way. And Coach O. But yeah, beyond that, would love to see everybody there. If you happen to decide to go, like I said, don't be bashful. Come up, talk to us.
They aren't. Don't worry.
Yep. My son's going to be there with me, Riley. He's really looking forward to it. So I know Alex H is going to be there. Carr is going to be there. Robert Nash, he said he's going to go. Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of people there, so it's going to be fun. So TTNL is going to be in Chicago for the Patriots game. I do think that the Bears, if I'm know how the Bears go, the Bears are going to pull it out. They're going to give some of that fake hope, and then we'll get smashed next week by a legitimate franchise.
I think it'd be funnier if we lost, because like Bill Belichick keeps trying to get Jared Mayo fired. And if that happens, I feel like it's the reverse Uno at that moment.
See, Bob knows. Try the smoked fried wings from Firewater. So yeah, we'll try it all. It's going to be fun. For you patrons, we are going to be sending out some info. Ivan is setting up some stuff. We're going to try to get everybody, that's a TTNL patron that is there. We're going to send out some information for Saturday night. Everybody that's staying downtown or interested in coming, we're all going to show up at a place, just kind of hang out, eat some food, kind of chill, just relax with everybody.
Just understand, if Maisie is over there by Shane, you are not to interrupt.
That's right.
She is over the moon excited that she gets to meet him. So
she should be, man. Maisie is going to teach me some new words to yell at people's mothers. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, she's also going to learn at an early age to never meet your role models, because that's they can never live up to the expectation. So yeah, but
shout out to this guy, Kerry Franklin. I know he's kicking in and setting us up. I actually got to text Kerry here after the show, because I gotta talk to him and Mr. Larson so we can get the ticket situation all figured out and settled. But Kerry has stepped up. He's going to run Riley and I to the airport when we leave Monday. So Kerry, thank you so much. You've been awesome, man. You're the best. But no, I'm looking forward to it, Carr. It's going to be fun, man. As long as you and I have known each other, we've never met in person, believe it or not.
28 years in the making. It's about time. I think we know enough about each other that it should be safe. I don't know I can call you a stranger on the internet anymore. So
I know, man. We talk every day, and I know at the time the ladies in our lives were wondering if we actually cared about them.
Who?
Yeah, well, that's me saying that. You got a good one there, though, dude. She's got the car's keys sticker.
I know. Don't say that too loud. It goes to her head, and I gotta deflate that ego.
Was she trying to show off the sticker, or was she just trying to show off the bling there, Cars? Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah, it's a little column A, mostly column B, but yeah, that'll do it.
We know how Steph is.
Oh, tell me about it. Unfortunately, not under the desk with us today, but hopefully sometime again soon.
Yeah. So Carrie, make sure your phone is open here. I'm going to text you here as soon as we get off line here. And yeah, it's gonna be a good weekend. Like I said, we're gonna be in town tomorrow, a little after 7. Riley and I are flying in. Ivan's coming to pick us up. We'll probably kind of take it a little bit easy tomorrow night. Riley and I will be. He's already scouring the the menus, and you know how teenage boys are. They can't go more than 27 minutes without cramming food into their mouth. So
yeah, let me know where you go for third dinner as opposed to first.
And third, fourth. Yeah, that's pretty much what he's been talking about. He was looking at the what's the place? Is Kitty O'Shea's in the Hilton, Chicago.
Okay.
He's like, oh man, those lobster rolls look pretty good. So we're gonna. He's,
Thank God he's paying for it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's what he's got, the same philosophy as his mother, Cars. Oh shit. No, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, we'll get out of here. See everybody soon. Like I said, big weekend for the Bears to do something, but a bigger weekend for TTNL. I'm looking forward to it.
Should be nice.
Oh man, I'm looking over here to see how we end it. I don't really want to do the dance party. Sheree gets.
No, I think we just kind of say, "Oh, one more thing," and then end the show.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing. Well, we could do it this way, maybe.
I love balls,
but everybody already knew that. But yeah, we're out of here. We love you guys. I don't even want to say bear down. Let's be relevant, you fucks. Talking about the Bears.
That's our new. That should be our new posters. Let's just be relevant.
Yeah.
And then,
right. Jesus.
Thanks,
should
everybody.
we do the sign where it says, flu season, with like how many L's, that'd be a good one, right? What's his yeah, with all those L's, just and everybody that you're sitting next to an L. Just write flu season with, what's his record? 42 games. How many wins do we have?
28.
14 with 14 L's in flu. Oh man. See, I am the smartest man, right? That's how we do it. All right. Love you guys.